The serum that wasn't meant for her. The research station floated silently above a glowing jungle planet. Inside Lab Bay 4, human bioengineer Damon adjusted his goggles and leaned over a glowing container. Thick green liquid inside the tube bubbled softly. "This is it," Damon whispered to himself. "The perfect serum to grow alien fruit twice as fast." He picked up a silver injector and carefully filled it with the liquid. The serum was made from rare enzymes found in the planet's deep jungles. It wasn't for living beings, only for the thick-shelled tree coconuts that aliens harvested for fuel and food. Behind him, a soft voice spoke. "Damon, need help?" He turned. It was Niavari, the station's alien assistant. She was from the corral species, tall, graceful, with soft teal skin and large glowing eyes. Her long silver hair was tied back and she wore a tight lab uniform that fit awkwardly across her chest. Coral females had twin chest glands known as coconuts, important for nurturing and survival. Damon smiled. "Sure, just don't touch anything without gloves." Niavari nodded quickly. She always followed rules, but today something felt different. She leaned forward to hand Damon a report, and her elbow hit the serum container. The tube tipped. Damon moved fast to catch it, but the injector in his hand accidentally fired. A faint mist burst into the air. Niavari gasped. The green mist hit her face and her chest. She blinked, her body stiff. Damon stared in shock. "Niavari, are you okay?" I think so," she said quietly, but her cheeks started to change color. Coral blushing. Within seconds, Niavari stepped back. She held her hands to her chest. Her eyes widened. Damon's mouth opened. Oh no, her coconuts were swelling, not like balloons, but slowly, visibly. The tight uniform stretched. She turned around fast. I need to go," she cried, and rushed out the door, arms across her chest. Damon stood frozen. What just happened? Niavari ran through the hallway, her silver hair flying behind her. Her face was red. Her heart raced. She couldn't look anyone in the eye. People stared as she passed. She reached her room, locked the door, and stood in front of the mirror. Her uniform was stretched tight. Her coconuts were visibly larger and still growing. Her breathing was fast. This can't be happening. But it was. She tried to press the fabric down. She even tried to breathe slowly, hoping it would stop. But the serum, whatever Damon made, was now inside her, and it was working. Meanwhile, Damon sat alone in the lab, hands in his hair. This is bad. So bad. The serum wasn't supposed to touch living skin, especially not coral females. Their bodies were sensitive to jungle enzymes. But Damon didn't test for that. He thought he didn't need to. And now he had accidentally enlarged Niavari's coconuts in the middle of a crowded space station. He checked the lab logs. No backup, no sample left, just the one dose. All absorbed. By her, he sighed. She's never going to forgive me. Next morning, Niavari didn't come to work. By afternoon, whispers floated through the station. Did you hear? Something happened to the alien girl. Her body changed, fast. I heard Damon was involved. Damon heard every word. People were talking, staring, judging. He walked to Niavari's room and gently knocked. No answer. He waited. The door finally slid open just an inch. Niavari's face peeked out. Her glowing eyes were wide and nervous. Are you mad? Damon asked quietly. She didn't answer right away. Then she spoke, voice soft. No, just embarrassed. He tried not to look down. I didn't mean to. It was an accident, I swear. She opened the door wider. Damon saw her now. She had wrapped herself in a loose lab coat. But it was obvious. Her chest was still larger. And her face was red again. Niavari stepped aside and let him in. I've never felt this watched, she said slowly. Everyone looks. No one says anything. Damon nodded. I'll fix it. I'll make something to reverse it. She looked up at him. But what if I don't want to reverse it? Damon blinked. Nyavari's cheeks grew even redder. It's strange, Damon, but I feel strong. I feel seen. Before, no one noticed me. Now, I feel different. He didn't know what to say. She looked down shyly. It's just, I don't know what to do. He finally smiled. Then let's figure it out together. Outside her room, 2 workers who had been eavesdropping gasped. The gossip was only just beginning. Whispers through the halls. The entire station had changed overnight. It wasn't just the atmosphere, it was the way people acted. Whispers floated in every corner like smoke. Workers leaned closer, glanced over shoulders and typed quiet messages on wrist comms, pretending to be busy. But the truth spread faster than light. The alien girl's coconuts are still growing. The human made her bigger? It wasn't fruit serum, it was body serum. No one said it directly to Damon's face, but every time he entered a room, conversations died. Eyes lingered. A few even smirked, assuming things he never intended. Damon, on the other hand, was a walking storm of guilt and confusion. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't focus. He couldn't stop thinking about Nyavari. What if this changed her forever? What if the serum affected her health? And worse, what if someone decided she was now a subject, not a person? In the medical bay, Nyavari sat on the exam table, hands folded tightly in her lap. Dr. Veln, an older alien medic, stood beside a scanner, trying to be professional. But even he hesitated when her chest failed to fit properly into the bioscan mold. It beeped with error 3 times before accepting her measurements. These changes, he said carefully, are not harmful, but certainly unusual. Nyavari blushed again. Can it be reversed? Possibly. But the hormones have bonded with your own. Removing the effects could cause stress or imbalance. She looked away. I see. He lowered his voice. You must know. People are talking. I noticed. She said softly. Dr. Veln gave her a kind look. Your body is still yours, but others will try to say otherwise. Be careful. Later that evening, Nyavari stood in the hallway outside the research lab. She wasn't wearing her usual tight uniform. Instead, she wore a long flowing tunic designed to hide her shape. But even then, it was obvious. She walked in, and everyone turned. A younger human technician leaned to his friend and whispered, Damn, he really did it. Damon heard it. His fist clenched. Nyavari looked at Damon. Her eyes met his, but then quickly looked away. She walked to her corner station, trying to act normal, but her hands trembled slightly. Damon finally approached her. Nyavari, he said softly. You don't have to be here if you feel uncomfortable. She took a breath. I don't want to hide. I'm sorry for what happened. She looked at him again. This time, longer. I'm not angry. I'm confused, and I don't like being the center of attention, but somehow it also feels different. I feel stronger, but also exposed. I can build you a reversal if you want. She didn't answer. Instead, she asked, What if people try to take this change from me? He blinked. What do you mean? She glanced over at a shadow in the hallway. Inside a hidden lab on the other side of the station, Dr. Rahal, the lead biochem officer, stared at a stolen vial of Damon's broken serum. So, the human fool discovered a serum that reacts to choroidal gland tissue, he muttered. He turned to his assistant, a sharp-eyed woman with steel-gray skin. If we extract just 10 milligrams of tissue from her, we could recreate this effect permanently and sell it. But it's unethical. She's just an assistant, Dr. Rahal snapped. And now she's walking proof of a miracle. We must own it before she does. He sent a message. Mark the girl for research protocol, secure her during night cycle. No witnesses. Back in the main lab, Nyavari suddenly looked nervous. I felt something, she said. Like I'm being watched. Damon frowned. You are, but not in a good way. She whispered. I think someone wants to use me. For what I've become, Damon stepped closer. Then we won't let them. Come with me right now. Where? To the greenhouse lab. No cameras, no guards, just plants. They walked fast, pretending to discuss a project. But once they entered the humid greenhouse dome, Damon locked the inner doors behind them. He turned to her. You're not safe anymore, not from science, not from greed. She nodded. So what do we do now? We hide you. And we figure out who's after you. And if they come, she interrupted, her voice suddenly firm. Then I fight. Outside the greenhouse, Dr. Rahl's agents watched the sealed dome with cold eyes. Target located. Extraction begins tonight. The confession and the curiosity. The greenhouse lab glowed under soft golden lights. Alien vines climbed the walls, pulsing faintly with bioluminescence. Damon sat on the bench, running his fingers through his hair, thinking hard. Across from him, Nyavari stood silently between the towering plants, her silver hair catching the light. It was quiet. Too quiet. Then she spoke. I used to think my body was something to hide. Damon looked up. But now, they stare. They whisper. Some even admire. She turned toward him slowly. And I don't know if I like it, or hate it. He stood up, cautious. I can make the antidote, Nyavari. I already have the base formula. She tilted her head, eyes glowing. You keep offering to undo it. Why? He blinked. Because I feel responsible. Because I care what happens to you. She walked closer. Do you really care? Or are you afraid? Damon hesitated. Afraid of what? That I might change. That I might like this new version of me. The silence between them grew heavy. The warm scent of jungle fruit and thick moisture filled the space. Then, slowly, Nyavari reached up and touched her own chest, almost in wonder, not shame. They were always small, barely visible. I was considered undeveloped in my colony, she whispered. Other females teased me. Even the elders doubted I could ever produce young. I was less. Damon took a breath. You're not less. She smiled sadly. Now, they would look twice, maybe 3 times, but not because of who I am, because of what grew. Damon stepped forward. Nyavari, it doesn't matter how or why. What matters is how you feel. Her eyes met his, wide and searching. I feel alive. Embarrassed, yes. Exposed, yes. But also powerful. Like I'm not invisible anymore. He was about to respond when, boom! The greenhouse glass shook. Alarms began to ring faintly in the distance. Damon rushed to the console. Security breach, he said. Someone's trying to override the door locks. Nyavari's breath caught in her throat. They found us? Rahl, Damon growled. He's after the serum's result. He wants you. She backed away from the glass doors. He'll dissect me. He'll study me like a fruit. Damon turned, eyes blazing. No one's cutting you open, no one's touching you. Then something beeped on his wristcom. A message. Subject locked in greenhouse. Prepare sedation. He looked at her. They're coming with tranquilizers. Nyavari's expression changed, from fear to anger. No, she said. I'm not running anymore, but I've been made fun of my whole life, judged, ignored. And now that I've changed, they want to own me? No. Damon reached into a supply drawer and pulled out a sleek metal syringe. What is that? A mimic enhancer. Originally designed for plants, but it can mask your life signs for 10 minutes. Just enough time to sneak out through the ventilation. Shaft, I'm not leaving without you. Damon smiled faintly. Then we'll both go. But first, suddenly, glass shattered at the top corner of the dome. A sleek black drone floated down, scanning the area with red lights. Nyavari ducked. They sent drones now? They're tracking body heat, Damon said. Take off your outer tunic, it's absorbing your warmth and making you easier to find. She hesitated for just a second, then pulled it off. Now in just her undersuit. The full result of the serum was visible again. Damon tried not to stare, but it was impossible not to notice the confident way she now stood. The drone turned toward them. Damon pulled a flash bomb from a hidden locker. Close your eyes. Flash, light exploded. The drone buzzed wildly and crashed into a vine. Damon grabbed her hand. Now. They crawled through the side hatch, squeezing into a maintenance tunnel lined with heat pipes. Behind them, voices shouted and boots stomped through the greenhouse. They're gone. Find them, they can't be far, Nyaveri whispered. Do you trust me, Damon? What? She grabbed a vine hanging through the shaft and pressed her hand against a glowing knot. The wall opened, an alien shortcut tunnel Damon had never seen. I memorized the emergency route paths of this planet weeks ago. I thought they were useless, guess not. They disappeared inside just as guards entered the shaft. Hours later, the two emerged in the abandoned botany lab near the station's southern wing. Dust covered the consoles. No lights, no cameras. Safe. For now. Damon collapsed onto a bench. Nyaveri sat across him, sweat on her forehead, breathing heavily. Then she said something soft. I don't want you to fix me. He looked at her, stunned. I don't want the antidote, she continued. I want to stay like this. Not because of them, but because of me. He swallowed. Then I'll protect you, with everything I have. They sat there staring at each other in silence, until her hand slowly reached for his, and he didn't pull away. But deep in a control room, Dr. Rahl watched the footage from a hidden drone that hadn't been destroyed. He smiled coldly. They're falling for each other. Good, that makes her easier to control. He turned to his assistant. Plan B. Bring them both in, together. Heat inside the greenhouse. The emergency botany lab was dark and silent. Only the faint glow of bioluminescent plants lit the corners of the room, casting soft green and blue hues across the old metal floor. Damon sat against the wall, his arm around Nyaveri, both trying to catch their breath. They had been on the run for nearly 6 hours now. Every hallway they crossed, every drone they evaded, it all added weight to their silence. But now, for the first time, they had a moment to breathe. Nyaveri looked around. This lab, it's abandoned. Damon nodded. They shut it down after a failed terraforming experiment. But no cameras, no sensors. It's our safest bet for now. She slowly stood up and pulled off her outer scarf. Sweat had built on her skin. Even the dim light caught the shimmer of her teal complexion. Her hair, silver and long, was slightly tangled but still graceful, falling down her back. Damon tried not to stare, but his eyes betrayed him. Nyaveri caught his glance. Her cheeks, flushed again, the same now familiar glow he had seen when the serum first took effect. You're staring again, she said quietly. He cleared his throat. I didn't mean to. It's okay, she replied, stepping closer. You're not the only one noticing. Damon blinked. What do you mean? She sat beside him, her voice soft. Ever since the change, I've noticed how people look at me. Some with curiosity, some with desire. But you... She paused. You looked shocked. Not because of how I looked, but because you never meant for this to happen. He nodded slowly. And yet, she continued, here we are. You've run from guards, fought off drones, hid with me in a dusty lab. Why? Damon met her eyes. Because it's not about what changed, it's about you. I care about you, Nyaveri. She looked away, nervous. No one's ever said that to me before. The air between them grew warm again, not just from the power generators still running, but from something deeper. But just then, boom! A heavy thud shook the far wall. Dust fell from the ceiling. Damon jumped to his feet. Nyaveri froze. That was close. Damon rushed to the cracked monitor. He rewired it quickly and tapped into an old surveillance node. The screen flickered. They saw 5 armored guards marching through the outer corridor. One of them held a strange weapon, a heat scanner. Behind them, Dr. Rahl followed slowly, his face cold and cruel. "Scan for organic warmth," Rahl ordered. The scanner beeped once, then again. One of the guards pointed to the wall. "Life forms. Right behind that panel." "They found us," Damon muttered. Nyavari's breathing quickened. "What now?" "We moved deeper." Damon grabbed a rusted crowbar and pried open the floor grate. Below them, an old irrigation tunnel ran toward the main greenhouse chamber. He looked at her. "We crawl." She hesitated only a second before nodding. Together they slid down into the tunnel just as Rahl's team broke through the first wall. The tunnel was tight and dark, filled with the smell of moist soil and old roots. Damon led the way, flashlight in hand. Nyavari followed close behind, but halfway through they reached a strange metal gate. Damon scanned it. It was coded to the old greenhouse system. "I can overwrite it," he said, "but we'll have to go through the greenhouse to reach safety." Nyavari bit her lip. "That place..." He turned. "What about it?" She looked, embarrassed. "That's where the serum first affected me. That's where everything began." He placed a hand on her shoulder. "It doesn't control you anymore. You control it." She smiled faintly. The gate clicked and opened. The greenhouse was humid, warmer than they remembered. The vines had overgrown. Steam rose from pools of water and the air was thick with the scent of fruit and pollen. Nyavari wiped sweat from her forehead. "Why is it so hot in here?" Damon checked the panel. "Someone tampered with the climate control. They want to flush us out." Suddenly, whoosh! A gas hissed from the top vents. Damon's eyes widened. "They've released a stimulant mist. It's used to activate plant growth, but it can also affect emotions and body temperature." Nyavari coughed. Her skin shimmered with heat. "I feel dizzy." Damon grabbed her hand. "We need to move, now." But before they could, 3 drone pods dropped into the greenhouse. They hovered above them, blinking red. Nyavari panicked. "They'll fire!" Damon looked around quickly and saw the only chance they had. "The shower vines," he shouted. "What?" He pointed to the thick hanging vines with misting nozzles. "They're used to wash pollen off plants. If we hide under them, the sensors might lose us." He pulled her toward the vines. They ducked underneath as the vines sprayed cool water and mineral mist. The drones searched the area, scanning, then, no target detected. They flew off, vanishing back into the steam. Damon exhaled in relief. Nyavari laughed softly. That was insane. They both collapsed onto the greenhouse floor, soaked and exhausted. She looked at him, her hair wet, clinging to her shoulders. "I never thought I'd feel safe again. You are. With me." She reached out, brushing a hand across his cheek. Their faces were close. The heat returned, not from the greenhouse, but from their hearts. But the moment shattered as a voice echoed from hidden speakers. "Very clever, Damon. It was Dr. Rahl. But you forget. The greenhouse is mine." Suddenly, the floor beneath them shifted. Metal plates opened. They began to fall. Aliens don't blush like that. The floor dropped. Metal panels snapped open beneath Damon and Nyavari, and they fell straight down into a dark shaft filled with vines, cables, and recycled air. "Hold on!" Damon shouted, grabbing Nyavari's wrist. They landed hard on a soft bed of wet moss, an old compost pit buried deep beneath the greenhouse. Damon groaned as he sat up, wiping mud from his face. "You okay?" Nyavari coughed, her voice shaky. "I think so." She looked down. Her suit was torn at the side, revealing part of her glowing skin, still shimmering from the serum's ongoing effects. Damon tried not to notice, but his face said everything. She saw his eyes. She blushed again, harder than before. "Don't look," she whispered, turning away. He gently reached out. "I didn't mean—" "I know," she interrupted, voice softer now. "It's just... Coral girls don't blush like this. Not unless they feel something real. Not unless... She paused. Damon's heart pounded. Unless what? She turned, her head slightly not facing him but not walking away either. Unless they feel desire. Silence. The air between them felt hot again, despite the chill of the pit. And just when Damon opened his mouth to speak, clank, a spotlight beamed down from above. Subject located, said a robotic voice. Prepare extraction. Damon pulled, Niavari down behind a cluster of vines. A drone hovered above, scanning the area. They stayed frozen. Even their breathing became quiet, but the drone wasn't alone. Behind it, a large mechanical arm lowered into the pit, its claw opening with a hiss. A powerful tranquilizer gun extended from its frame. Damon whispered, "That thing will shoot us if we move." Niavari closed her eyes. "There's a way out, but it's dangerous." He looked at her. "Show me." She pointed to the far end of the pit where green roots pulsed against the wall. "Coral escape vines. We used them during the wars. If I touch the right one, it'll open a tunnel to the old seed vault." He nodded. "Then do it. I'll distract the drone." "What?" "No. Just trust me." Before she could stop him, Damon stood up and threw a broken metal pipe across the compost field. It hit a wall with a loud crash. The drone turned instantly and flew in that direction. Damon shouted, "Now, Niavari, go!" She dashed to the glowing vines, placed her hand on the thickest one, and whispered in her native tongue. "Art!" The wall split open like a flower blooming in reverse, revealing a spiral tunnel made of soft, glowing roots. "Damon!" she yelled. He ran toward her just as the tranquilizer dart fired. Zip! It scraped his leg. He stumbled, falling into the tunnel as Niavari caught him and slammed the vine wall closed. The drone was cut off. Inside the tunnel, the light was soft and blue. The walls pulsed with energy. Niavari held Damon's face. "Are you hit?" He blinked, already dizzy. "Only grazed. I think..." She helped him walk. "Just hold on. The vault is close." As they moved deeper, Damon's thoughts swirled. Not just from the dart, but from everything. Niavari's eyes, her touch, her words. "Aliens don't blush like that," he whispered. She looked at him, smiling softly. "I told you. We only do when it's real." At the old seed vault, Niavari laid Damon down on a bed of glowing moss. She searched through ancient containers and found a medical herb used to counter sedatives. She crushed the leaves and placed them against the dart wound. Damon winced. "Still alive?" she asked. "Only because of you," he muttered. She laughed, lightly, a sound he'd never heard from her before, half nervous, half joyful. Then she grew quiet again. "I was scared of this," she said. "Not the serum, not the drones, this." Damon blinked. "What?" "You making me feel like this." She reached out and touched his hand gently. "No one's ever risked so much for me. I didn't care what I had to do," he whispered. "I just couldn't let them take you." Tears shimmered in her eyes, but she didn't cry. Coral didn't cry. Instead, she did something even more rare. She leaned in and kissed him. A soft, glowing kiss. One that lit her skin with light. They stayed like that for a few seconds, lost in it until, boom. A heavy explosion rocked the ground above. They both stood. Niavari ran to the vine wall and touched it. She gasped. They found the vine system. "They're trying to burn through the roots." Damon stood beside her, his strength slowly returning. "Then we need to end this. We can't run forever." She looked up. "I have a plan." "What is it?" "We go back. But this time, we go public. We reveal everything. How Rael tried to turn my body into a weapon. How he tried to kidnap and dissect me. If the station's main AI sees the truth, the command council will shut him down." Damon frowned. "That means showing them everything, even the changes," she nodded. "Yes, but this time I won't hide." He took her hand. "Then let's do it together." Above, Dr. Rael slammed his fist into the console. They're still moving. Why can't you stop them? And, officer stammered. They're heading toward the command hub, sir. Rahl narrowed his eyes. If they speak before I get to them, I lose everything. He turned to his security team. Deploy the final unit. Full force. No witnesses. The rival researchers' plan. The seed vault trembled. Dust fell from the curved root ceiling as another explosion echoed above. Damon helped Nyavari steady herself as glowing pollen drifted down like ash. They're coming with everything now, Damon whispered. Nyavari nodded. Rahl knows he's losing. That makes him even more dangerous. Damon tightened his grip on the scanner in his hand. If we can reach the command hub, I can plug this into the master AI system. It has recordings of everything. Your growth scans, the lab security footage, the drone attack, and Rahl's orders. Once the AI processes it all, he's finished. Nyavari looked down at herself, her now full figure still glowing faintly through the damaged parts of her suit. Then it's time they saw what he tried to use and in what I now choose to be. Meanwhile, inside the upper station's central intelligence chamber, Dr. Rahl stood in front of the master AI core, a glowing orb of shifting light surrounded by dozens of hollow screens. On each screen, security teams searched for Damon and Nyavari Rahl's assistant. A tall woman with pale gray skin and glowing orange eyes stepped forward. Sir, they're using the old route tunnels. We're triangulating their route. They'll be near the central ring within an hour. Rahl didn't answer. He was staring at one screen, the kiss in the seed vault. The way Nyavari leaned in, glowing. The way Damon held her close, he clenched his teeth. This bond is my last problem. The assistant tilted her head. You think he's making her stronger? No, Rahl growled. She was always strong. He's making her brave. He turned, furious now. Prepare Project Mirror. The assistant blinked. Sir, Mirror is untested. I don't care. We don't need to catch them anymore, we just need to break them. He pressed his hand to the master console. Activate Psychological Clone Protocol. Create a mimic of Nyavari, perfectly shaped. Program her with shame, doubt, fear. The AI buzzed. Cloning protocol initiated. Building mental profile from observed behavior. A figure formed on the platform. A fake Nyavari, identical in shape and voice but with trembling hands, uncertain eyes, and a voice that whispered, I don't deserve this body. I am a mistake. Damon will never love me. Rahl smiled coldly. We'll release this version into the public files. Let the station see this Nyavari, the weak one. They'll doubt her. She'll doubt herself. And when that happens, we strike. Below, in the narrow passage near the command hub, Damon and Nyavari approached the outer gate. Damon rerouted, power to unlock it, but the doors only half opened, blocked by a twisted metal beam. We're close, Damon said, pushing hard. Just a little more. But Nyavari froze. Her ears twitched. She heard something, a voice. I am a mistake. Damon will never love me. Her heart stopped. She turned, and on the central screen above the hallway she saw herself, her own face. Crying, saying those words. She stepped back. What? What is this? Damon looked up too. No. That's not you. That's a clone. A trick. But she shook her head. Maybe it's right. Maybe they will only see me as a lab mistake. A joke. A weapon. Damon grabbed her shoulders. Nyavari, that's not who you are. She looked away, trembling. But what if Rahl's, right? What if no one ever sees the real me again? What if they only see these coconuts? He gently placed a hand over her heart. Then show them what else you are. Show them your fire, your spirit, your strength. Don't let a projection take away your truth. She blinked, and for a second, only a second, her glow faded. Then she straightened. No, I won't let that copy speak for me. She walked to the control panel and slammed her hand on the emergency broadcast override. Sirens blared. Lights turned red. A robotic voice echoed, "Live feed activated." Screens across the entire station flickered. The image of Nyavari appeared. Not the clone, but the real one. Standing tall, proud, glowing, she looked into the lens. "My name is Nyavari of Corral. Yes, my body changed, but it was not a curse. It was a chance, a mistake that became mine to shape. And now they want to use me, claim me, break me." Her eyes blazed. "But I choose who I am. I choose this form, and I choose him, the human who stood beside me when I had no one." She reached for Damon's hand and held it high. Damon stepped forward, plugging his scanner into the master console. Uploading evidence. Security footage played. Drone attacks. Guards firing. Ral's voice ordering her sedation. The AI core began flashing red. Violation detected. Biological rights breach confirmed. Security override authorized. Back in the intelligence chamber, Dr. Ral's smile vanished. Cut the feed. Shut down the core. But the AI's voice thundered back, "You are in violation of the Corral Human Alliance Charter. You are hereby relieved of command." Guards turned their weapons on Ral. He reached for his weapon, but it was too late. He was stunned, cuffed and dragged away. In the command room, Nyavari and Damon watched as the chaos calmed. Station-wide messages were sent. Rail's files were deleted. The clone project was destroyed. The people, humans and aliens alike, were quiet, then slowly began to clap. For the first time, Nyavari smiled without blushing, because now the world saw her not as a mistake, but as a symbol of strength, of change, of choice. She chose to keep them. The station had fallen silent after the broadcast, after the chaos, and after Ral was dragged out in cuffs. Every crew member aboard the orbital platform felt like the air itself had shifted. No more whispers, no more hidden cameras, no more running. And in the heart of the command room, Nyavari stood still. She looked around at the dozens of alien and human crew now gathered. Some stared at her curiously, others with respect, but none with the judgment she once feared. Damon stood beside her, holding her hand tightly. "Are you sure you want to speak again?" he asked gently. She nodded. "I must." She stepped up to the main console, this time with no alarms, no hijacked cameras. Only a quiet room waiting for her voice. "My body changed," she began, her voice calm but steady. "I did not ask for it. It was an accident. But what happened after, that was my choice." She paused, looking at her reflection in the screen. "For a long time I hated myself. I was smaller, quieter, forgettable. People ignored me. But when the serum affected me, suddenly, they stared. Suddenly I mattered. It made me angry. But then, I realized something. It's not the size of my body that gave me power. It was the moment I stopped hiding it. The moment I chose to accept it and walk with my head high." She turned toward Damon. "And when I had no idea how to face the world, this human stood beside me. Not because of how I looked, but because of who I was. Who I still am." A deep silence fell across the room. No one laughed. No one whispered. Instead, they stood straighter, because for the first time, the quiet alien girl had spoken louder than anyone. Later that evening, Nyavari walked through the main corridor. The lights above glowed softly, and workers passed by her, but now they smiled. Some even nodded with respect, not because of what she wore, not because of her appearance, but because she stood her ground. She reached the research bay. Damon was already inside, organizing equipment. The old greenhouse had been repaired, the plants watered, and for the first time, it was peaceful. When Nyavari entered, Damon looked up with a tired smile. "How are you feeling?" She walked up to him. Slowly, "I've made a decision," she said. "About the serum." He set down the tools. "I told you if you want me to reverse it, She shook her head. No, I choose to keep them. He blinked. She smiled. They're part of me now. Not a mistake. Not an experiment. Not Rael's property. Mine. Damon stepped closer. Then we move forward, together. She nodded. Yes, but what? She took his hand and placed it gently on her chest, on the place that had changed so much, caused so much pain, and yet somehow brought strength too. This time, she whispered, I'm not hiding. Not from them. Not from you. Not from myself. Damon's breath caught in his throat. He pulled her into a soft, warm embrace. I never wanted to fix you, Niavari, he whispered. I only wanted you to feel whole. She pulled back just enough to meet his eyes. Now I do. But not far away. Deep in a restricted vault Rael once controlled, a sealed pod blinked softly. Inside it, the clone Niavari lay dormant, her eyes opened. Not scared this time, not programmed. She blinked once, then smiled. Let's see what I choose.